let me ask you something. Why do you want to join the infantry? You wouldn't be looking up this video if you didn't want to join the infantry. So why do you want to join the infantry? I mean, assuming that you didn't just get this recommended to you, if you did and you don't want to join the infantry, what are you doing with your life? Why are you getting these videos, brother? But to the people, to my fellow civilians, because I'm a civilian now, that want to join the Marine Corps, want to join the infantry, why do you want to join the infantry? It's not fun. There's honestly, it's kind of thought of as kind of a bottom of the barrel job. So it's not a fun job. It's not, you get yelled at a lot. The infantry tends to be a lot more traditional than the other jobs. So you probably still have to go through a lot of the hazing and a lot of the kind of corny Lance Corporal type of situations more than you would a pogue job. So why do you want to join? I'm not asking you to try to deter you or try to push you away from joining. I just want to make sure that you do want to join, because it's a pretty important job. I think very highly of the Marine Corps infantry, obviously, because I was in it, but I don't think most people do. I don't even think most infantry and Marines do. Not until at least they get out, right? Because I think, especially for your first contract, the usual mindset that you have is that you're too cool for this, you're too salty, you're a senior lance or whatever, and the infantry is kind of corny, for lack of more colorful words. But I just really want to make sure that before we get into the video, picking one of these infantry jobs is something that you really want to do, because it's not really that fun. It's you always get yelled at way more than everybody else, and if you're just looking for the title of Marine, the benefits that come from being in the military, you can get that from other branches, other jobs. So before you go ahead and join the infantry, just make sure that it's something that you want to do, because 4 years is a very long time and you can't quit. You're there and that's it. So now that we're done with that intro, now that I'm done trying to push you guys away from joining the infantry, I think everybody should join the infantry. I honestly think the infantry is the funnest part of the Marine Corps. I think it's the funnest part of the entire military. Personally, I'm going to say this. Don't take it personal, because I'm just saying this for myself and how I feel. You know, don't take it to all the pogues, don't take it personal. But if you join the Marine Corps and you didn't join the infantry, why? Why did you do that? Like, the infantry is kind of the staple of the Marine Corps. It's like, if you think of the Marine Corps, you're thinking of an infantry Marine, right? So my thought process, I'll extend an olive branch. I would also kind of categorize that with like the other, if you watch my last video, I'll probably pin it up top somewhere. I think I named all the closely combat related, infantry related jobs that aren't directly infantry. So like mortar T, artillery. So those jobs, they gotta pass too. They gotta pass too, but come on. I supply. Come on, what do we do, guys? All right. I'm done. So for this video, guys, we are gonna go over some of the top. I think I'm just gonna go over all of the infantry jobs that you can do, that you can get, that you can have. You can technically say all of those, because you get a job, you get assigned a job, you do a job, you are the job. But we're gonna go over the top, or like I said, all of the infantry jobs. If you don't know, if you're not in the Marine Corps, if you're not in the infantry, I'd assume every, maybe not every Marine, most Marines would know this, but if you don't, Marine Corps jobs are called MOSs. Hold on, give me a second so I can actually look up what that stands for again. Marine Corps MOS definition: military occupational specialty. It's funny because they say military, but I don't think the other branches use MOS as their job title. But either way, the Marine Corps jobs are called MOSs, and they're labeled or classified into different categories, of course. And for infantry, they go by numbers, usually like a 4-digit number. So for infantry, the prefix for your MOS would be 03, and then following the 03 would be whatever job you get. So for me, I was a rifleman in the infantry, so I was an 0311, which is probably the most common job you can get in the infantry. Technically, I think it would be the most common job you can get in the Marine Corps, because the Marine Corps is 20% infantry. Of course, it's 80% the rest of the jobs, but the rest of the jobs don't by themselves wouldn't be 20%, right? So I think being a rifleman is probably the most common job, and I guess we might as well start off with that, since it's the most common. It's what I did, and I probably know the most about that. Yeah, I definitely know the most about that, more than any other job in the Marine Corps or in the infantry, because I didn't do those jobs. But so you're basically Mr. Basic. That's what I was, a rifleman. You are the guy that is kicking indoors, running and gunning, and kind of doing all the Marine Corps, all the Marine stuff. All the Marine stuff that you see in the movies and on TV, that's what you're doing. I mean, that's not what I was doing. Of course, I was in the Marine Corps during peacetime, the peacetime Marine Corps. So I mean, technically I was doing all that stuff just in training, not in actual combat. But like I said before, a rifleman is just basically the basic bitch of the Marine Corps. Kind of versatile. You have a few different weapon systems that you kind of go through. You can have, from when I was in, I had an M4. I'll list off all the weapons that I used. M4, M27, 249. You do get to use grenade launchers for all my Call of Duty guys, noob tubes. You can get pistol quad if you wanted to, but honestly, nobody in my platoon had a pistol qualification. I think it's like actually no. I think one of my buddies did. They're very selective on who can do their pistol qualifications. And if you do a pistol, I think it was an M9. I think the Marine Corps uses an M9. Oh, and an M16. How the hell could I forget an M16? Like what? That is the gun in the Marine Corps. Honestly, they're doing away with the M16, so I doubt that if you guys join the Marine Corps right now, I doubt any of you guys, or if you join the infantry, I doubt any of you guys would see an M16. But if you were a Pogue, you would probably get an M16 just because like you wouldn't use your rifle, especially if you were like super Pogue, like admin or something. Then you would only see a rifle during the rifle call once a year, so you probably would get an M16. But for the most part, they're kind of doing away with the M16s. So that's it. M4, M27, which is the new one. M2, the 249 saw. The M9 if you do a pistol, and then the M16 that's old though, and then you can shoot noob tubes and everything. Obviously you throw grenades, you do through all this, you're still using a lot of other weapons. So I shot an AT4. What other rocket launchers did I shoot? I think it was just it was an AT4, some other lightweight one that I can't remember off the top of my head, but still super fun. All right, on to the next one. We're gonna kind of take a step back into more of Pogue land. This is still an infantry job, but sorry to tell you guys that you guys kind of ride around in an LAV, so a little pogey for me. 0313 LAV crewmen. These guys are still infantry, and you still obviously go through ITB like the rest of us. If you don't know, ITB is Infantry Training Battalion. Everybody that joins the infantry goes through this schooling to become an infantryman, right? And then through the ITB, you choose whatever, or most likely they give you whatever job you're gonna have. But an LAV crewman, it's, if you can look it up right now, an LAV is a light artillery vehicle or something. No, light armored vehicle. I don't know why I thought it was artillery. A light armored vehicle. These guys are still infantry. These LAVs are like, if you guys know what tracks are, you probably wouldn't. I don't know why. Yeah, if you know what tracks are, they're basically like smaller land tracks. The tracks are more amphibious and bigger. LAVs, light armored vehicles, are smaller. They have wheels instead of tracks, like kind of tank tracks that they kind of ride on. The LAVs have wheels. They're smaller too, and the LAV crewmen, I'm pretty sure for the LAV, I think it's only 2 or 3 guys that actually have to be there to operate the vehicle, and then the actual LAV is meant for transporting infantry marines, right? As an LAV crewman, you're still going to be required to do all your infantry stuff, and that usually means that you're basically a rifleman, but you're also in charge of this LAV, so you're kind of doing the 2 jobs. I'm kind of like Motor T, except they do the Humvees and everything. You're just in charge of this one thing, this one vehicle, and then on top of that, you're also infantry, so you'll probably have like an M4, definitely maybe an M27. I think that's pretty common nowadays. Definitely not, you're not gonna get a saw or like maybe an M16. That'd be pretty shitty though. Next on the list, we're gonna keep going. The basic bitches of the infantry, even though these guys are a little bit cooler than LAV crewmen. The machine gunners are the guys that obviously shoot the machine guns. So as a rifleman, the only machine gun that you have to carry is a 249 saw, and with that you have an A gunner. If you were the saw gunner, you would have an A gunner that carries your barrel. The saw is only like, I think 15 pounds or something like that, if I remember correctly. The A barrel, maybe like another 6 pounds or something, so it's not too heavy. Machine gunners, they get the big bitches. Now you got your 240, which is probably like, honestly, bro, how much does a fucking 240 weigh? Like fucking 40 pounds or something like that. And it's so big that when we go on hikes, machine gunners have to pass, unless you're like that, unless you're that guy, they usually have to pass around the 240 so that to give the guy hiking with it an easier time, right? Just because it's so heavy. They also shoot 50 cows. They also shoot, I mean, I wasn't a machine gunner, so I can't tell you every machine gun they shoot, but they shoot a lot. They usually have pistols too, and they go through their own training. It's pretty fun. Machine gunner, if you don't know how an infantry battalion is set up, you usually have three rifle platoons. So rifleman platoons, which that's what, like about 30 dudes, all riflemen, 3 platoons, and then you have one weapons platoon, so 4 platoons in the company. And the weapons platoon is going to be made up of your machine gunners, which of course carry the machine guns. Then your assaultmen, I'm trying to think of the other name. I think there was another name or another type, like there was something else. I feel like there was another name for assaultmen that I can't remember off the top of my head. The only reason was because they were doing away with assaultmen while I was going through ITB. It wasn't completely done away with, but by the time I was getting out of the Marine Corps, there was only like maybe like 150, 200 assaultmen left in the Marine Corps. So it was like something that wasn't really being trained anymore. But just so you guys know, assaultmen carry around the rocket launcher now. So you got your javelins, AT4s, the small, is that what it was called? You can think of assaultmen as guys that train with explosives, so they might do C4, TNT, more grenades and stuff like that. They're kind of like the combat engineers of the infantry. They're in charge of rockets, demolition. Obviously, in the event that there's no combat engineers around, the assaultmen would take kind of the role, but usually, yeah, it would be all good. You'd have some kind of combat engineer, just like you would hopefully have artillery, and not have to only rely on our next guys on the list, the Mortarman, which are also part of weapons platoon. Think of weapons platoon as all the guys that carry the bigger, heavier weaponry that isn't so heavy that you can't carry. You got to remember, the Marine Corps infantry is a light infantry, so that means you're mobile. You can move all the time, even if some of the stuff is pretty heavy, like some of the Mortarman equipment, some of the machine guns, you can still move with them. You just kind of gotta, you know, man up a little bit and carry it. But like I was saying, Mortarmen, they are light artillery. Basically, they can set up mortars very quickly and put them down range. I don't know exactly what the weapon systems are called. Mortars, I'd assume. I don't think they even do anything else besides mortars. Oh, so there's 2 types of mortar systems that they use. One 60 millimeters, and then another one 81 millimeters medium mortar. Cool. So yeah, so just mortars. With the machine gunners, the mortarmen, and the assaultmen, all you really have to know is that you're basically the same as a rifleman, except with bigger guns, bigger weaponry, and that means you got to carry it on hikes. And sad to say, guys, these hikes are pretty long. I think the longest hike I did was like 17 hours when we went to Bridgeport. So imagine carrying 60-pound you got to carry all these different weapons on top of the gear that you already have. So you got your pack, you have your own M4. You don't only just have your weapon system. You have your own M4 that you have to carry. You have your flag. If you have a pistol, God help you, I don't know. I know machine gunners tend to have pistols, so, but you have a holster, so it should be fine. But yeah, you're just basically carrying really heavy weaponry and putting it down range. Now, to move on from weapons platoon, we're gonna get into kind of a little bit more of the specialized infantry jobs. So these might be jobs that might be a little bit more selective, right? So I'm gonna bunch these 2 together. So MARSOC and Recon, even though technically Recon isn't, I believe they're not part of the special forces units anymore. MARSOC is now the new Recon as of like 2008 or whatever the fuck. But they still kind of are on that like Recon anyways, on that special forces kind of timing. They have different missions than a regular infantry battalion would have, right? Obviously MARSOC, you're doing a bunch of secret stuff. I don't know. I have actually had my old platoon commander went MARSOC after he left our battalion, so he's out there. He was a beast though, bro. He was an animal. He was actually going to be a Navy SEAL before he joined the Marine Corps. He ended up getting, I think he dropped because he told us that he couldn't hack it or some shit. I don't know exactly what happened, because he was an animal, bro. I'm telling you, he said he was top of his class and everything, but I think his mindset wasn't right or something like that. I don't know. I had a buddy though that went recon, and this is actually something very important to know. If you do want to go recon, you can get a recon contract, right? So that means you go to your recruiter, you say, I want to join the Marine Corps, I want to be recon. So after you do boot camp and you go to you would go to your recon school, which I think is in Pensacola, Florida. The important part to know is that if you fail out of your recon school, there's no guarantee that you will stay infantry. There is a pretty good chance that the Marine Corps might just give you a different job, and it honestly, it happens a lot that recon guys end up getting like cook or something, like being a cook, because like people with open contracts, which is what you become right after you get dropped from your recon school. An open contract is somebody that basically joins the Marine Corps but doesn't have a job selected right out the gate. People with open contracts basically let the Marine Corps decide what job to give them, and the Marine Corps is going to give you a job that they feel they need to fill, right? So not that many people join the Marine Corps to be a cook, so they're going to give you a cook job, right? They're gonna give you a chef. I don't know exactly what the title is for being a cook, but you'll definitely end up most likely not being in the infantry. My buddy that got dropped, he ended up getting in a fight while he was down there, so he got kicked out. They're pretty strict about all that stuff. You can't be getting in trouble out there. But my buddy that got kicked out, he got lucky and he stayed in the infantry, but that's not common. I don't think that's common. I think I've heard like a few stories now of people like getting some admin job or some supply job out of recon or something. Now to move on, I've got one more job and then an honorable mention, right? And I'll tell you guys why it's an honorable mention when I mention it. But the next job is actually going to be security forces, and this is also another infantry job. It's kind of infantry, kind of not. You are still in the infantry, and technically you're a rifleman. Actually, you are. It's not like you have a different job. You are an 0311, but the difference is for the first 3 years of your contract, or the first 3 years of your contract as security forces, you basically go and guard embassies, and you're on like specialized task forces for different embassies, right? Once you're done with your first 3 years, then you go do infantry for another 2 years. So if you want to do security forces, you can't do a regular 4-year contract. You have to do a 5-year contract, and it definitely kind of sucks because first of all, you're in the Marine Corps for a year longer than you want to be honest. Second of all, the good thing is you go security forces, 9 times out of 10 you're going to leave security forces as a corporal. You're not getting a corporal in 3 years in the infantry, right? In the regular infantry, but you will get it as in security forces. Only fucked up thing is, once you go to the infantry from security forces, you better not think that corporal title means anything to those dudes over there. I've seen corporals get bitched out by privates. Obviously the privates have been in the Marine Corps longer and been in the infantry longer. They just got NJP, they got in trouble, they lost their rank, or lance corporals or whatever. So they're not as higher, they're not a high rank like the security force corporal might be, but he's way more senior than the corporal is, because the corporal is coming into the infantry and doing this job for the first time. He hasn't seen this stuff since he's been in ITB. So don't think that being a corporal in the infantry is gonna or being a corporal straight out of security forces is gonna hold any weight in a regular line platoon, right? I've seen it's honestly, I guess it happens, bro. I mean, I got embarrassed. It's okay, bro. Like, I feel like it's a little bit more embarrassing when you're a corporal getting bitched out by a private, but hey, man, whether it's a private or a sergeant, you're still getting bitched out, man. It really ain't that much better. And then for the honorable mention, before I forget, this is an honorable mention because it's not a job that you can get like on contract. You have to join the infantry first and then apply to get this job, and these are snipers, scout snipers. So how it goes usually is you join the infantry, you do your regular job, you're probably in the infantry for maybe like 2 years. You have to kind of show that you're not a dirtbag Marine, and they allow you to go to not scout sniper school right out the gate, but you actually go train with the scout snipers to become what I forgot what it is. Basically like they're A gunners, they're assistant gunners. You carry their guns for them, you still train with snipers, so you basically are getting ready to become a scout sniper, but that's not the school, and you're just kind of getting hazed by the snipers until they feel that you're ready. I can't remember how long. My buddy that actually went recon and got kicked out, he ended up going to do that. So he was there for a while and it looked like they're having fun. It was cool, but it is a process. And if you want to become a scout sniper, it's definitely minimum 2 contracts. So you're looking at probably 8 years, because it's going to take a while, unless like, you know, some people and they really like you and they might push you through a little bit faster. But for the most part, it'll probably take a little bit. All right, guys, that is it for the video. I hope you guys learned something new. I'm coming up on 30 minutes over here. I must have like left the room and stopped talking. There's no way I've been talking for 30 minutes. But guys, I love you. If you plan on joining the Marine Corps, if you plan on joining the infantry, hit me in the DMs, hit me in the comments, let me know what you want to know. Ask any questions you want. I'm here to answer, guys. I want you to succeed. Marine Corps is not that hard. It's not that difficult. It just sucks. It really just sucks, and it's a long time, and it's every day. All right, guys, I love you. Take it easy, guys. Peace.